Football.
We once were a team that never could measure. Now we're something fresher than fresher.
I think we're jamming, and that's a fact. Everybody say, Wildcats, 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 Wildcats.
Welcome
It's the sport.
to the Married with Picks podcast. Season 3, episode 12, week 12.
Don't cuss, not us. What's up, Jaclyn?
What's up, Steve?
Keep rolling. Got some good picks again last week.
I personally had a really good week last week,
You had a better
but
week than me.
I think we were on the opposite ends of a lot of games, so that must mean that you had a bad week.
What did you do?
I had every game except your damn Eagles.
Yeah, they sucked. They won, but they didn't play as good as they could have.
They didn't even cover on my damn teaser. I had them at 1.5. And we had 2 bets last week and I won them both. So I'm making up some ground.
We're almost even now.
There were 2 shit games, but I won them both. All right. So moving on, week 12, we have 3 games already off the board yesterday. So we're going to go through the rest of the games here. Hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving. If you're watching, remember to like and subscribe. So first game up is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Cleveland Browns, opened at -2.5 in favor of Tampa Bay. It's up to -3.5. We have Tampa Bay coming off the bye after their big win in Germany. Cleveland wants to run the ball. Bucks got Akeem Hicks back their last game. It was a difference maker in the run defense. They held Kenneth Walker back when they played Seattle and Germany. So I think if Tampa Bay can stop the run, also Cleveland lost their center last game. He will be out for this game. And on the opposite side, Cleveland has been a sieve on the ground. It sounds like Fournette is doubtful to play, but it could be a big Rachaad White game. I don't really like the hook, but I am going to take Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I think you have to stay on Tampa Bay here. I look for them to start rolling here in December. Try to make a strong playoff push to, really prove that they have a shot at winning the Super Bowl. As they're playing right now, I mean, they're not a legitimate contender. But the fact that they have Tom Brady, the fact that 2 years ago they won the Super Bowl after kind of playing most of the first half of the season in a lackadaisical manner, they turned it on in December and rolled to the Super Bowl. So I think the Rams got in their way last year, right on their way to the Super Bowl. So I look for Tampa Bay to start picking steam up here. It's going to be a problem without Leonard Fournette, but I don't think Cleveland's going to pose too much of an issue.
Okay. All right. So we're on the same side of that one. Next game up is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans, opened at -1.5 in favor of Cincy. It's up to -2.5. Cincy looked better their last game against the Steelers. They held up well against that defense with TJ Watt back. We have Mike Grable and the Tennessee Titans as a home dog here. And this is a revenge game for them from their playoff loss last year since he took them out of the playoff race. It was a close game. I think we could potentially lay that on Ryan Tannehill. He started the game with a pick, ended the game with a pick. Burrow was sacked 9 times in that game. Bengals could be getting Jamar Chase back, so that might worry me a little bit. But I think the way that the Tennessee defense has been playing and the fact that this is a revenge game, Grable also has a pretty good record as a home dog. So it's a little uncomfortable, but I am going to take Tennessee here.
Yeah, Tennessee's won 2 in a row. Cincy, I still feel like Cincy is going to be in the AFC Championship. But they're still struggling. They haven't really turned it around completely. I think
Mixon will be out for this game as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be an issue. And they're only playing to a 500 clip on the road. They're 3-3 this season. Tennessee, one of the toughest places to win at home. But overall, Tennessee is one of the toughest teams to beat in the league in 2022. So I think, it's Cincinnati. The line's climbing up to 2.5. I think you got to take Tennessee.
All right, we're on the same side of that one. Next game is the Houston Texans at the Miami Dolphins. Open at -9.5 in favor of the Dolphins. It's all the way up to -14. Davis Mills has been benched for this game. It will be Kyle Allen, a bit of a journeyman backup there. Miami, obviously Houston wants to run the ball. Miami is better at stopping the run. So I definitely think Miami wins this game, but it's a big line. It's a lot of points. Miami does play San Francisco next week, so they could be looking ahead to a more competitive game next week. I believe the coach McDaniels had come from San Francisco previously. So maybe throw them in a teaser. I don't know if I could take it at 14.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge Kyle Allen guy, right? He came up with the Carolina Panthers, and they was given a shot to start in Washington for the football team. And now he's on the Texans. So I'm not huge on him, but, as these guys, you just call him a journeyman, as these journeymen start to log some more action and get more wise at the quarterback position, they start to be able to produce enough compared to when they were first young, entering the league and turning the ball over a lot. So we'll see if we've seen a couple of those situations with the quarterback play in 2022 play out, like Marcus Mariota, right? He has the Falcons playing respectably, but nobody's really in love with Marcus Mariota or think that he's the next Joe Montana. This could be the same case. My point is, I'm feeling a lot of the same about these games as you are. The 14 points is just too much.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to put them in a teaser maybe.
Yeah, and Houston's not like the rest of the team's not that bad. They can run the ball, right? They have Pierce that can run the ball. They can play a little bit of defense. And
you also got to, like Brandon Cooks, he's obviously like checked out. Like, I don't know if like Kyle Allen starting is like a boost, because what do you think Kyle Allen's going to do for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. But I think he's very similar to Davis Mills. And if Mills was in this game, I would say it's a 9-10 point game, not 14. I think they had the line right with first coming out at 9.5, but people bet it up to the 2 touchdown mark now. So, I think you take Houston and feel pretty comfortable with the fact that, it's maybe a game that you don't want to watch, but at the end of the game, when it's 0 on the clock, they'll be within 14.
Okay. All right. Next game is the Chicago Bears at the New York Jets. Open at -3.5 in favor of the Jets. It's up to -6. We have Zach Wilson benched in this game. Mike White will get the start. We saw Mike White with some magic last year. Jets have a pretty good defense. The Bears do not. Justin Fields is questionable with a separated shoulder on his non-throwing arm. If he does not start, it would be Trevor Siemian at quarterback. And I guess I have to wonder, what is the Bears offense going to be if it's Siemian instead of Fields, because their offense wasn't very good until they started using Fields as a runner. Trevor Siemian, I don't believe is much of a runner. So if it's not Fields, I would take the Jets. If it is Fields, I don't really think I want any part of it.
I kind of like Mike White. He struggled when they tried to make him, the last couple of starts that he had.
Well, I think the one game there he played well. He came in
off the bench.
Yeah. So sometimes that's, you don't have time to think about it.
Yeah, Mike White's one of those guys that would get the locker room behind him. And I think that's a big reason why the Jets were careful not to play him too much with Zach Wilson and all that they invested in him, i.e., second overall pick in the draft. They wanted Zach Wilson to be the guy. But, if Mike White comes in here and gets the job done and gets the Jets winning games.
Well, I mean, Zach Wilson has been winning games.
I think the problem was just that,
his
he
attitude.
looks so bad.
No, because what he said at the press conference.
And he can't lose the teammates. You know what I mean? Let's be honest with you. He'll be back in the saddle probably in 3 or 4 weeks. But I think Mike White can handle the Bears defense. They're playing at home. So I think it's interesting that as soon as there's some reports, as soon as Fields got hurt last week, that you didn't know if he was going to be done for the season. Now all of a sudden he's questionable and still might play. So if Trevor Simeon's in there, I agree. I like the Jets a lot more. Because Fields, you could still see him keep it close till the end. But I think either way, it's a Jets win. If Simeon plays,
it at 6.
Well, if Simeon plays, I would light it up for the Jets. If Fields plays, the line stays at 6. I'd be a little questionable on that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Next game is the Baltimore Ravens at the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's at -3.5 in favor of the Ravens. Jacksonville is coming off the bye week. The Ravens will have their tackle Ronnie Stanley out. Mark Andrews is not on the injury report, so I guess he's good to go. He did play last week, but he wasn't too involved. They also have Gus Edwards back at running back. I think the Ravens defense has been playing better the last few weeks. They held the Saints to 13 points, the Panthers to 3 points. So I think if the Ravens defense is going to show up in this one, then I would feel comfortable taking the Ravens. But I don't really like the hook, and I don't really feel confident in this. Interestingly, the Jaguars have nobody on the injury report. I just wanted to mention that. I thought that was odd.
Yeah, I think they're the most healthy team in the league this year. Like maybe 2 weeks ago when I saw it was the Eagles, and they got banged up a little bit. And now it's the Jaguars. So we'll see what injuries are coming up soon for them. But I like the Ravens. I think especially the hook scares me a little bit at 3.5, but I'm going to take the Ravens in this one and feel pretty confident about it. They're just a much better team. They're going to the playoffs, and Jacksonville struggled with the good teams in the league.
All right. So same side of that one. Next game is the Denver Broncos at the Carolina Panthers. Panthers will be starting Sam Darnold in this one.
That's my guy.
No, your guy is Sam Darnold.
Darno.
Like
Darno.
the easiest name to pronounce, and you screw it up. Broncos are still kind of what the Broncos have been. Broncos have a good defense. So, I remember the one game where Bill Belichick had Sam Darnold seeing ghosts. Maybe the Broncos defense can rattle him a little bit. I don't know. I don't really want anything to do with this.
I mean, it's a tough game. It's two bad teams, but usually they say two bad teams take the points.
I mean, they're both defensive teams. So, I'm sure it'll be.
I'm not going to fall for this Russell Wilson train for the rest of the season unless he goes on a run and gives me something some reason to jump back on board.
I had seen after we did the podcast last week that the head coach was giving up the play calling duties. So I thought, maybe that'll make a difference, and it didn't. So,
yeah.
What do you do?
I'm gonna go with Big Sam, home dog. They seem to be playing well for this interim head coach. I'm gonna play Carolina, but again, I think there's much better games on the board. This week. All
right, moving on. The Atlanta Falcons at the Washington Commanders open at -3.5 in favor of the Commanders. It's at -4. Falcons obviously want to run the ball. Washington has a pretty good run defense, so I could see it kind of playing out like last week did. Falcons are without Kyle Pitts at this point in the season. They don't really want Mariota throwing it around too much. I like Taylor Heineke, so I'm going to take Washington.
So with Kyle Pitts coming out, do you think you'll see more of Cordell Patterson as a receiver?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know. I'm about done with I don't understand what their usage of Cordell Patterson is the past couple weeks.
I think you got to keep that guy on the field with Algiers, the young running back that they have. Keep them on the field together, and maybe run some dual back sets. You can motion Patterson out, wide, or just line him up out wide as a receiver.
They could, but they haven't been using him much at all, other than to return kicks. So
I think it's a 3-point game either way. People are going to start getting on Washington too much, and I like Washington. Hey, they might have the best coach in the NFC East, to be honest with you. But
you think?
They could. I like them. I
don't know how you can say that when they had Heineke on the bench after he played well for him last year. They bring in Wentz, who didn't do anything.
Well,
and now it takes
don't know how much of that is Daniel Snyder or someone in senior management making the move for Wentz. Once they make the move for Wentz, it's not going to be the coach that's pulling the trigger on the trade.
They already saw what happened when the Colts tried that last year.
Well, you can't blame that on Rivera. You could blame it on Rivera probably, unless he's forced to put Wentz back in.
And I guarantee you, if Heineke hadn't won the Eagles game, it would have been Wentz back in there for sure.
Yeah,
all right, so you got the Falcons?
Yes, I'm going to take the Falcons in this one. I think it's a 3-point game.
Okay.
They're getting 4.
It is 4.
I will take Atlanta.
All right. Next game is the Las Vegas Raiders at the Seattle Seahawks. It opened at and is at -3.5. We have Seattle coming off the bye after their loss in Germany. Prior to that, they were riding high. Raiders, obviously a bit of a dumpster fire. So I don't know what to make of this game.
Really?
Yeah. Why? Do you have a strong take?
Yeah.
Well, go for it.
I mean, you just said it, basically. I mean, like, you're leading up to taking Seattle, and then, hey, they're regrouping after the bye, after the bad loss to Germany. The Raiders are a dumpster fire.
I don't know. There's just something in my gut.
Missing is take Seattle.
There's something in my gut that says the Raiders win this game. But I had, prior to the loss in Germany, I had refused to accept the fact that Geno Smith was good. And it bit
that's
me.
The thing. They're just finally starting to get people to believe in them. And
it bit me every week. So I kind of feel like it would bite me here. And whoever wants to say I taken the Raiders. So I think I'm going to stay away from this game.
I'm going to give you 2 stats why you should take Seattle. Okay. You ready? Seattle, in their last 5, they're 4-1 against the spread.
Okay.
More importantly, combine that with their 5-0 in their last 5 against the spread against the AFC. So when they step out of conference the last 5, they've covered the spread. They're 3.5-point favorites. I'm going to take Seattle. I don't think the Raiders have the machismo to stand up to the 12th man in Seattle and play good football in front of those fans.
Actually, there could be rain in this game. I mean, it's Seattle, but
I think that plays into Seattle.
Well, probably.
What says Seattle more than rain?
Exactly. All right. Next game. The Los Angeles Chargers at the Arizona Cardinals. It sounds like Kyler Murray will be back at quarterback for the Cardinals. This opened at -2.5 in favor of the Chargers. Is up to -3. They will be without their left tackle, DJ Humphries, and Byron Murphy, cornerback. Ertz is out, I believe.
He's out for the year. Pretty sure I heard he was out for the year. But that was the early read.
It says he was going to be out, but he hasn't been placed on IR. Rondell Moore and Greg Dortch are questionable. It sounds like Marquise Brown will be back.
Marquise Brown.
On the other side, Mike Williams is out after playing.
What do you think about that Dortch guy? We were watching a game this past week. Dortch looked pretty good. He's not playing.
Well, he was the guy before Hopkins came back. And then once
he's literally speedy.
You have Hopkins and
very
more.
Tyreek Hill-ish.
So he should probably get some more playing time here. But he's questionable.
He's up, right?
Yeah. So, and then on the other side, Mike Williams is out. Keenan Allen is in.
It's 2 in a row.
So don't jinx him. Because I think it's
Josh Palmer.
Well, I think this is a good spot for Keenan Allen because the way that the Cardinals play defense, it's always either the slot receiver or the tight end.
Well, Josh Palmer had a nice catch in the end zone last week, and he looked like he was finally stepping up. If they could ever get the 3 of them healthy on the field, Palmer, Mike Williams,
it'll never happen.
And Allen
with these 2 guys.
Oh, with Eckler, I mean, so you can tell why people picked them in before the season started to be the AFC representative in the Super Bowl.
So I got to go with the Chargers here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, they're 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 on the road. They're also 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 on the road versus Arizona, specifically.
Okay.
Combine those 2 stats. I'm taking the Chargers -3 on the road.
What if it creeps up to like -3.5? Would you still take it?
I'm not taking Kyler Murray. 3.5, I'd be a little scared, obviously, but I'm still taking Chargers here.
All right. Next game, we have the New Orleans Saints at the San Francisco.
Again, you got to start with this theme. Like, you got to start picking games thinking like longer term. Like, who do you see as a playoff team? You're watching these teams every week. Who do you think are really going to make the playoffs? And those are the teams that you got to bet now, because if they're going to make the playoffs, they're going to win these games, because it's up for grabs the way some of these division races are going to
if you look at this
unfold.
This game.
And to me, the Chargers are a team that are going to the playoffs.
Well, but both teams, I mean, I don't think the Cardinals are necessarily out of contention by any stretch of the imagination.
I don't trust Lamar Murray. I just don't have the confidence in Murray.
You always do that.
What? Kyler Murray.
You said Lamar Murray.
Yeah, let's go back to the tape, because I know I did.
Don't make me. I have a challenge flag.
Oh my God. I forgot about that. Do you have it on you?
No, I don't, unfortunately. I wish I did. You'd think I would
threw that out. I was like,
I would have brought it up here at least.
It was like the equivalent of like the podcast embarrassment. I was just
but that was like the perfect.
It was probably pretty funny, but not sitting my seat.
Setup.
I was like, you're such a dork.
Well, I can't take credit for it because I got the idea from the stupid commercial. So, all right. Anyway, but so I don't think either team is out of the race. So you could say, I mean, the Cardinals probably need to win desperately. The Chargers need to win desperately because they're in a better division. Yeah, but what's San Fran?
6-4.
Yeah, so I mean, they're not.
Seattle 6-4.
They're not out of it by any stretch because the Rams aren't going nowhere.
I mean, I guess they're not out of it. You still got like 6 games left, right?
Yeah. So
7. I mean, these guys got 10 games played.
I mean, I think the Chargers are the better team. So
that's the other thing to remember is Seattle and San Francisco have a game in hand on Arizona. So Arizona has 11 games. The only one in the division that has 11 games. Everybody else has 10 games played.
Mm-hmm. And what's their record against the division? 1-4. So I mean, they're in trouble. They're kind of on the ropes, but
they're desperate. So maybe that's a reason to take them.
So I don't know, but I'm just sticking. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the Cardinals won, but
listen, ever since the whole contract thing came out about Kyler Murray and him not being able to read a defense, or you could tell in his play, like he's just scrambling half the time. And one of the guys that it seemed like could play that style of football with him is Zach Ertz. A lot of times when he scrambles and the play broke down, Zach Ertz would work his way back or across the field to help Kyler Murray out, and he'd hit him on the run. And now you don't have Zach Ertz there anymore. You do have Hopkins back, right? Who's a better threat than Ertz, and he's, arguably a better threat, and he's going down the sideline as opposed to in the middle of the field. So he still has him, but I worry that, my point is that, he plays against good defenses. He's not going to win.
Well,
and
they've had a lot of offensive line
him.
issues too this year, but I don't know. All right, so let's move on. Next game is the New Orleans Saints at the San Francisco 49ers. Open at -8.5, and this says it's at 8.5, but I thought it had gone up to like 9.5. So San Francisco is on top of the division, riding high after their beatdown of the Cardinals in Mexico City. I think they definitely have the defense that can make it tough for Andy Dalton. Saints defense hasn't really lived up to snuff this year. So I definitely like San Francisco. I worry with them a little bit about it being such a big line. But last week they did put that game away pretty handedly. So I definitely think they could do the same to Andy Dalton. So I like the 49ers. I don't know if I could take it that high, but you could definitely put that in a teaser and I would feel pretty good about it.
This one's a struggle for me because I've not liked New Orleans the whole season, and I've pretty much gone against them every week. And San Francisco, I feel like, is one of those teams. I mean, it's not like a shocker thing that I'm going to say here. I think they have a chance to be one of the top seeds in the NFC. They could represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. So I expect them to start picking it up. But again, this is like, I'm right there with you with it's just too many points. It's just like it's the NFL. It's too many points. It might not be here at 8.5. Like in other words, I want to take New Orleans. I think if it was kickoff and I had to make a play right now, I would take San Francisco. But if this line goes up to double digits, I'm really of the opinion this year that like nobody should be double digit favorites. It's tough. It's tough to cover double digits.
Well, that's what makes this week tough is because the lines are so big on some of these games. For instance, the next game we're going to get to is the Los Angeles Rams at the Kansas City Chiefs, open at -9.5 in favor of the Chiefs. It's up to -15.5. The Rams will be without Matt Stafford. I don't know if Sean McVay has officially named a starting quarterback, but I believe it will be Bryce Perkins, who came in last week when Stafford went out. They're still without Cooper Kupp. Did you say they released Darrell Henderson?
Yeah.
So, I think the Chiefs will win this game, but can you take it at 16? That's just a lot of points.
It's a heck of a lot of points. That's the other thing.
So, yeah.
The Jaguars claimed Henderson.
Huh.
That's interesting.
So who do they have at running back now? They have that
Cam Akers.
Yeah, who they don't even like.
Yeah. It's odd. It's also odd there, and their number one threat is gone for the year. So, how could you like these guys, even though they're getting 15 and a half points from the Chiefs? And I want to take the Rams here.
Yeah,
KC's only 3-6 against the spread in their last 9.
Yeah, I don't see how you can take the Rams.
And this is exactly what we were talking about last game. It's just, the Niners game's not there yet, but it probably will be there by Sunday as a double-digit favorite. How can you like any double-digit favorite? And
Well, you just put them all on a teaser. That's what you have to do.
I'm taking the Rams on this one.
All right.
I'm taking the Rams on this one, and officially I'm going back to the last game, and I'm taking the Saints because I know that game's going to be 10 points by kickoff. If it's 10 points by kickoff, take the Saints.
I'm not taking the Saints.
Because I think San Francisco's going to struggle to score against them. I think they have a good defense in them.
Well, they haven't been playing that well, and I worry about Andy Dalton up against a good defense. I think that's trouble. So, all right. Next game is the Sunday night game. The Green Bay Hackers.
Green Bay Hackers. This one has special meaning to us, right?
Does it?
Special meaning to me. I finally get you to a football game here.
Yeah, I have serious regrets about agreeing to go to this game.
The last football game we went to. You were like 6 months pregnant up in New England.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Watching the Patriots get a beat down from the Eagles.
Yeah. So it opened at -6 in favor of the Eagles. It's up to -6.5. Philly struggled the last couple weeks. They were, going toe to toe with the Texans before they pulled away in that one, and last week barely edged out the win against the Colts. Green Bay obviously has struggled all season, so I got to go against Aaron Rodgers just like I have been. But I'm a little bit worried, and the fact that this is a primetime game always worries me. So you got to watch where the money goes. But I'll take Philly.
Yeah, you might have to shut me down on this one because I got a lot to say, but I'm going to try to keep it brief. But there's, the Eagles have been not looking good the last couple of weeks. And, you're going to go to Indy on the road and win the game. That's all you really want is a win. But you're going to come back on prime time and you're going to play the Green Bay Packers, who have been struggling mightily and look to have gotten a little bit of wind in their last game, when they beat the Cowboys. And it looks like now that they're kind of on the fence here. Is Aaron Rodgers going to get his stuff together and they're going to catapult into the playoffs?
But you forget they played the Titans last week.
Yeah.
And the Titans won.
That's true. At home. So, they really, this is a desperate pack. My point is this is a desperate Packers
What
team.
is the Packers record? Like 3-7 or something?
Oh, that's a great question, Jaclyn. The Green Bay Packers are 4-7.
4-7.
So they're in that same position as Arizona we were talking about, where they're desperate and they need to win. They're 1-4 on the road, So, my point is that this needs to be for the Eagles. This is the type of team that if you're going to allow them to stick around, Aaron Rodgers is going to beat you. If you're playing a 3 or 4 point game and there's 5 minutes left on the clock, he's going to beat you. So when you're much better than the team that you're playing against and they have Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback, you have to really put your foot on their throat in the first half, and you can't let up. You got to keep putting up points. So we're going to see if the Eagles, and this is the type of team that the Eagles have to be if they're going to have a serious chance to win the championship. If they're going to come out here, they're going to mess around with the game plan and not run the ball. Green Bay's proven that, over time that they will get worn down running the ball. And the Eagles' strength is running the ball, but they haven't done so much over the last couple of weeks. So we're going to find out a lot about the Eagles here. If they struggle, I'll be a little worried about them heading down the stretch. I'm sure they'll make the playoffs, but, are they going to go anywhere? I don't know. I expect them to fully unload on the Packers here and win by 3 touchdowns.
All right, so you're on the Eagles.
I'm on the Eagles, but I'm just saying that if they do,
because I was hoping that you were going to go on the Packers, because then I would go fully on the Eagles. Because anytime you actually go against your own team, I don't know if you're like trying to reverse psychology it, but
I'm worried about this game because I know what it means if they lose the game.
What does it mean?
It means they're in trouble. It means they're in trouble because they should have, honestly, they should not struggle with this defense. Jalen Hurts should be able to do whatever he wants against this defense.
But what do you think about your defense?
Because once you run the ball and they have to tighten up to stop that run, it's going to open so much up against.
I'm not worried about your offense. I'm worried about your defense, I guess.
Well, the defense, and that's the other problem too, from a play calling standpoint, where the Eagles get in trouble on offense, like we talked about, was when they don't run the ball. Where the Eagles get in trouble on defense is when they can't stop the run. And there's times where Jonathan Gannon will just sit back and be very passive and not blitz. He does that. He did that all of last year, but he's proven when he's done it the few times this year that he's going to do it to a lot of success. So you can't let Aaron Rodgers just sit back there in the backfield. He'll tear you apart. You got to get pressure on him. You got to send blitzes.
All right, and then the last game of the week is the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Indianapolis Colts, opened at minus.
This is going to be the game we bet on much.
I'm betting you on this one. Open at -3 in favor of the Colts. It's down to -2.5. Steelers were actually able to move the ball last week. I think they put up like 30 points against the Bengals, which that was surprising. I think the Colts still do not have a great offensive line, so having TJ Watt back, he could make it a rough day for Matt Ryan. Obviously, the Colts want to run the ball. Steelers are better against the run. So I got to lean Steelers here, but you definitely got to watch where the money goes on this one, because wherever the money is, go opposite. And that's what will control my decision on this game.
I like the Colts. I think Matt Ryan's going to get a win here. I think the defense is strong enough that they can give Kenny Pickett issues being a rookie quarterback. I mean, I have a lot to defend Indianapolis here because I think that they're a team that a lot of the betting public does not like. They tend to not load up on the Colts when they're playing. And I think this is where they can get in there and they can sneak attack the bettors. That'll probably take Pittsburgh here and trying to get some points. But Pittsburgh's coming on the road. Not a very good road team.
Well, so I think that's what's going to happen is most of the money is going to go on the Steelers, and that's going to push it to the Colts.
Yeah, again, Pittsburgh 1-4 on the road. Not very strong in the conference. They're 1-6. So overall 3-7. I like Indy this week. I think you take them at home.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us for week 12. Remember, if you're watching, like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. Steve is actually ready with the exit music this time.
Wildcats.
Peace out.
Better. It only took 3 years.
Wildcats.
I got it.
Better again.